Hi guys, I'm Maris and today we're going to time travel a bit into the American colonial period here in the Philippines. Back then, people didn't just write long editorials to criticize the government. They actually used political cartoons, and these weren't just funny sketches. They were bold, sharp, and sometimes brutal in exposing corruption. Two examples of this were collected by Alfred McCoy and Alfredo Roces in their book Political Caricatures of the American Era. Many came from the Independent, a newspaper founded by Vicente Soto. He gave space to the fearless social and political commentary. The first cartoon is the police force Bribed, published in June 1917. A man named Alfredo claimed that Manila police were receiving bribes from Chinese gambling houses in Binondo and Quiapo. Imagine that, police who were supposed to stop crime were actually protecting them. The Philippine Free Press first published his accusations but later took them back. Still, the Independent pushed the issue. They even had Fernando Amasolo draw the cartoon. In it, policemen are shown literally taking money from gamblers. It may have carried racial undertones typical of the period, but the message was clear. Corruption reached even those sworn to protect the people. And now, let's go fast forward to January 1920 with the cartoon New Bird of Prey. During World War I, Manila's population grew and so did rent and food prices. The working class struggled to survive. Protests reached Malacanang and Governor General Francis Harrison stepped in. In a letter, he condemned what he called the rapacious demands of the landlords and proposed rent control, capping rents at 12% of a property's assessed value. Sounds promising, right? But here's the catch. It was more bark than bite. True reform would have meant building public housing and really helping the poor. Instead, taxes still went to elites and projects that didn't benefit the workers. Here is the clever twist. The caption New Bird of Prey was actually a reference to the most famous libel case in Philippine journalism. In 1908, the nationalist weekly Our Nacimiento published an editorial called Aves de Rapina, or Birds of Prey, accusing Dean C. Worcester, the Secretary of the Interior, of exploiting the country. However, Worcester sued, won a massive judgment, and forced the paper to shut down. By using this imagery in 1920, the cartoon suggested that Harrison's so-called reform were just another version of exploitation. The same story in a new disguise. When you put these two cartoons together, a pattern shows corruption and inequality. First, a police force bribed by gamblers. Second, a government that promised reform but still served the rich. These cartoons weren't just for laughs. They spoke truth to power. They captured the frustrations of Filipinos during the American era, and honestly, they still remind us today to keep questioning those in authority. And with that, we've seen how editorial cartoons expose corruption in both law enforcement and governance. But this is only just the beginning. Next, we'll look at more cartoons that reveal how satire shaped public opinion in this era.